Hey Plum Dogs, Uncle Joey here. Just a little video today on how to rough up your threads and use thread tape properly, at least the way we do it here over in Australia. So I'll show you. So there's two different kinds of fittings we use the most. So we've got brass fittings and we've got poly fittings. So poly fittings, yeah, they're just poly. They're a bit softer, so you don't want to be as rough. But you want something for the thread tape to grab on when you twist the fitting in, when you tighten it. Otherwise, sometimes you see that happen. The thread tape stays still and the fitting rotates and the thread tape isn't moving anywhere, isn't being drawn into the fitting, and that's when you get leaks. So I'll show you. So this first way for brass fittings, this takes a bit of skill, but I've been doing this for many moons. I like to use my multis and go maybe like 4 or 5 spots on the fittings. And normally a good way is if you can feel it, the thread tape can grab it. If you can't feel anything, give it one more. This is an easier way. Just get any sort of pliers, a little bit of rough edge on there, grab your fittings. It's a bit hard because I'm doing this on camera now, but this will be a bit easier than the multi variant. But see, that's still rough enough. I can feel that for thread tape to grab. Now I'll show you for poly fittings what we do. Poly fittings, you don't want to damage the threads too much. So I normally like to use a hacksaw blade or whatever you got, reciprocating blade, and just we call this way the plumber's violin. So see, you can still, like there's marks on there, but it's nothing that damaged the threads. I'll just show you what multis normally do. Doesn't matter how soft you go or how hard you go. See, that's multis, so they really gouge in the threads. Like I don't want to do that. So see, with a hacksaw you get a nice even, normally the same thing, 4 or 5 spots, the more the merrier. So that's that. Then for the thread tape, over here the most common types we use are the pink and the greys. So the grey is pretty well for fit off, anything that's sort of exposed, visible. You don't want pink because that stands out too much. But for any sort of fitting in the ground or in the wall or wherever you want, you can use pink. There's another one that's yellow. That's for gas, but as you see, these tapes, both these colors are gas approved. So a lot of people go, oh, you can only use yellow. No, you can't, because it just doesn't have to be. See, it's gas approved. Looks nicer as well. So there you go. So I'll show you, like for poly fittings, I like to use a more thicker, like this is a bit thicker than the grey one. So I'll show you first with the grey one. So grab the roughed up side, eh? Oh. So the grey tape. Hold the roll like this so it comes off when you spin it. I normally grab it like that. 10 reps is normally a good one. So see, I start at the top, go to the bottom, work my way up it in, and then I normally like to taper the thread tape towards the top bit of the fitting. See, like, so when it pulls it in, it is a bit tapered, so it'll seal better. There you go. Give it a little spin. See, like a gentle little taper on there, boom. So for brass fittings, I normally never use thread tape by itself. So for brass fittings, we're gonna use lock seal or Loctite, whatever they call it. So you just put a little dab on there, because like Loctite needs metal to bond. Put a little bit on my shed floor as well. And that'll be enough to make a good seal for you. So next, the poly fitting. Now a lock seal on there, which is good. Grab the pink one. Same thing. Roughed up side, not the poly side, like the multi side. We'll use the hacksaw side. Put it on there, start at the top again. Work your way down. Make sure you put enough tension on it to not snap that thread tape. You'll figure that out, but just a bit of practice. And then I'll do the same thing. For bigger fittings, I like to go more than 10 reps. The bigger the fitting, the more reps you're doing. Like normally 10 reps is a good starting point. And same thing, I taper it up. So I start pretty thin on the end of the fitting, pretty thick, so see it has that small little taper. And then for poly fittings, I like to use TOT, or T-O-T. Put a little bit on there, and that just helps it seal more. Gets into the threads, seals in. Like, this is old stuff, so it's not as liquid as it used to be. But then that's normally enough. You don't put a lot on there. It's just enough to seal it. Done. Look at that. So that's just an easy way. A bit of plumbing 101. I still see a lot of plumbers forget this step to rough it up, and then they get a lot of leaks and they go, what's going on? Well, it's just because you're not roughing up. So good luck with this, plumb dogs. See you next time.